Well, it's a big show.
I must dig my dig in the mashed potatoes. Go hog.
This is a team sport. It's not a talent-based sport.
We got Bobby fucking Petrino back. If I'm honest with myself right now, it's a cool 12-0. Oh, look at that tornado. Welcome, everybody, to the College Football Tailgate. It's our big show, the Saturday show, where we're giving you all of our best bets. Filling in for XFL Jim, I'm your host, Chase Sessoms, the Wolf of Oaklawn, and joining me, stage right here, the man, the myth, the legend, the demigod, if you will, Uncle Rico. What's up, Unc?
Nothing much. What's going on with you, dude?
Nothing much. I think what's going on with me is I couldn't make decisions, so I decided to play every single football game almost.
I mean, it is a huge day of sports today. Like, we got MLB playoffs. We got a loaded UFC card. We got college football. I mean, it's just an absolute phenomenal day. And, dude, I already made a little money, dude. I was able to get the pre-sale of the Brewers tickets, and since they're playing the clubs, I was able to flip those for a nice little profit, dude. So I'm already in the green on the day, dude.
There you go. There you go. That's what we call hustling. That's what we call grinding to get it, Uncle Rico.
And what's the oh my God, what's the track? Doesn't Keelan open up today?
Keeneland opened yesterday. It is the Keeneland Fall meet, which is, for me, I prefer Keeneland Fall to Keeneland Spring because there are less just ridiculous 2-year-old races going on. You know, 2-year-olds going 4.5 furlongs, and none of them have ever made a start. Got a little bit more information with it. So, yeah, if you're a horse racing fan, Keeneland is probably the best game in town. Did
I ever tell you my Keeneland story?
No.
So for my buddy, for his bachelor party, we went down to Louisville, destroyed Louisville. Then he's a big horse racing guy. Took some little limos over to good old Keelan. Uncle, this may surprise you about me, but I'm not a fancy guy. I'm not a sports coat type of guy, Chase. I know that probably shots you a little, but played the game, dude. Had the sports coat on. And I don't know how you are when you get a little loose, a little juice in the system, but I start wandering. I meet new people. I start talking. I start expanding my reach, if you will. I ended up in the winner's circle. Like, literally, I have it. I'll have to find it somewhere. I got into a winner's circle photo at Keelan, just wandering around and talking to people. Just ended up where I should not have ended up. And I believe that our host of the show, Chase, is frozen. Or is it me who's frozen? It looks like Chase is frozen, guys. So what I'm going to do is and I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me talk and ramble about my escapades when I have been drinking, and God knows no one else wants to hear that. So let's jump right into it with my first bet of the day. I am going to take Purdue here. I was able to get Purdue here at plus 9.5. For me, it's a spot of spots. Now, what's the rule when you gamble? Play the number, play the spot. This screams value on the Boilermakers. They're coming off a huge win over USC. They have Ohio State on deck. It's emotional sandwich spot for Illinois. Plus, also the week before, who did they play? They played Illinois. So that's 2 emotional games in a row. Big game against Ohio State on deck. Now you have to travel all the way down to Fort Wayne, Indiana to play Purdue. Plus, Purdue has been looking better. Purdue is coming off their bye while Illinois has yet to have theirs. This is going to be their 6th game in a row. Extra prep time, fresh legs for Purdue. Huge opportunity. Plus, I like this opportunity when a team with a big flip over, new coaching staff, new schemes, has a bye, so you can get a little bit more time. I expect Purdue to look a lot sharper. Illinois, meanwhile, will still be without Scott, who is their best player in the secondary. I absolutely love Purdue here. I was able to get the Boilermakers here at plus 9.5.
There we go. He's got the Boilermakers plus 9.5. I'm sorry for my internet connection issues, but I am back. Let's look at Wisconsin at Michigan. We've got Michigan a 17.5-point favorite. Wisconsin plus 650 on the money line. Total is going to be 44 points. Have anything here, Uncle?
I do not, my friend.
It was a pass for me as well. Coming up, a Carolina battle here. We got the Clemson Tigers taking on the North Carolina Tar Heels. Clemson laying 15 here. North Carolina plus 500 on the money line. 47.5 is the total.
I mean, I kind of have no idea what to do here. This game, when ESPN made the schedule, they probably were pumped up saying this is going to be the feature game. Now, has this been relegated to ESPN News?
Yeah. This is on ESPN Classic, the no longer broadcasted ESPN Classic. Yeah, I really wanted to get there with North Carolina because, I mean, as the resident Clemson hater and resident non-believer in Clemson, I felt like this might be a good spot, but I really do not trust this Bill Belichick coach North Carolina team. Not this season. Next season, maybe. Not this season, though. All right, moving on. Got what kind of surprised me spread-wise. Iowa State going to Nippert to take on the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati's a 1-point home favorite. The undefeated Iowa State Cyclones plus 100 on the money line here. Total at 55.5. I didn't have this, but honestly, I wouldn't mind taking Iowa State at the even money. What do you think?
I played Cincy here at minus 120 on the money line. I'm going to die on this mountain. I don't think Iowa State is that good. Kansas State has been flat out awful. South Dakota State lost to Lamar. Iowa, one of the worst offenses in the country. Iowa State should have lost to Arkansas State. The following week, Arkansas State lost to Louisiana Monroe. When I sit back to this Iowa State team, they really don't impress me. Cincinnati is going to get a boost this week as their best defensive lineman returns. Obviously going to be able to strengthen the front seven, get a little bit more of a pass rush going, which is important because Iowa State has really struggled to run the ball all season. I don't trust Iowa State's playmakers on the perimeter. I know they had some big plays in the passing game last week against Arizona, but that had to do more with Arizona's issues and some broken coverages. On the flip side, Cincinnati quietly has been a top 20 offense nationally this season. And I think that is good against this Iowa State defense, who's lost its top 2 corners for the season, and their best defensive lineman is banged up. They struggle to generate some pressure. I think Cincinnati is going to be able to move the ball. Also, Cincinnati's DC was on Iowa's staff last year, so he's familiar with Iowa's defensive concepts, and will have the offense ready to go against what Iowa State likes to do. So I like Cincinnati here minus 120 on the money line.
He's taking Cincinnati straight up in this Big 12 showdown. Speaking of showdowns, I guess, Kentucky going on the road I believe they're going on the road to Georgia. Yeah, Kentucky on the road to Georgia. I got action here. What about you?
I got nothing, my friend.
I'm taking Georgia. I got them at minus 20. It looks like this line has moved towards Kentucky's way a little bit to plus 19.5. Big time bounce back spot for Georgia following that Alabama loss. And I think that Georgia is focused and knows that they probably can't have another loss and still be in the mix for the college football playoffs. I think that this ends up being a statement game for Georgia, and they just hammer Kentucky in this spot. Also, fuck Kentucky forever. That's also one of my mottos. So I'm going with the Georgia, the minus 20. Like I said, if you like Georgia, keep watching this line, because if it keeps moving Kentucky's way, then it's definitely a big time play. So that is my play for there. We move on. You already talked about Illinois, Purdue. Up next, Air Force, Navy. Navy 14-point favorite. Air Force plus 400 on the money line. 51.5 is your total. I got something here. What about you?
I got nothing.
2 service academies with run-based offenses. This is the kind of game I love to take unders, and I'm taking that under in this spot. I'm going to go with under 51.5 on the total. You got option teams, even though Navy can throw it a little bit. I think that this kind of grinds down to a halt, and you see a bunch of run plays, and you see a bunch of clock bleeding in this spot. So I'm taking Navy minus the 51.5, and we move it on to Boston College, Pittsburgh. Pitt laying 6.5 at home, plus 200 on the money line for the Boston College Eagles. Total is 57. Admittedly wanted to get there with Boston College. Didn't do it, though. Didn't have any play in this game.
I got nothing, dude. Nothing.
Well, we roll it on to Kansas State, Baylor. Baylor minus 4.5. Kansas State plus 165 on the money line. Total 60.5. By the way, thank you. Let's make some money. I put a lot of work into it, so I'm glad you listened.
I got nothing. Absolutely nothing here.
Same.
I think both these teams are brutal, putting it politely.
There we go. Kansas State, Baylor. Baylor, 4.5 favorite at home. Kansas State, 165 on the money line. Total 60.5. I have put Baylor on the do not fuck with list for this season. I have no idea what to think about Dave Aranda's Baylor team or how they play. So I completely passed on this one.
He's supposed to be a defensive genius, and their defenses looked awful this year. Just awful.
Absolutely awful. Moving on, still in the 11 o'clock slate, UTSA, meet motherfuckers, the Roadrunners, taking on Temple at Temple in Philly in the Link. UTSA, the road favorite, laying 6.5, minus 240 on the money line. Total set at 58. I've got something here. What about you?
I got nothing, my friend.
The handicap is simple. UTSA runs the ball extremely well. Temple stops the run poorly, and I think that UTSA runs this thing down Temple's throat and win it by at least a touchdown. So I've got UTSA minus the – doesn't look like this line is budging. Minus 6.5, a little bit juiced up right now to minus 115. Do you have any thoughts on either?
I got nothing, dude.
Do we just automatically assume Temple is terrible?
They're a lot better this year with their coach. The guy that came up from Sam Houston, they're playing a little bit better. I just can't get there with them. I don't want nothing to do with this game. I have too many plays as is, and this didn't make my board.
Oh, I have yet to too many play, Uncle Rico. As you know, I've got a ton of action today, and that action actually rolls into the next game, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech. Wake Forest getting 6 on the road. They're plus 195 on the money line, and the total is set at 51. I know I'm here because I've got Wake catching Virginia Tech in a potential look-ahead spot with ranked Georgia Tech up next on deck. And this is an interesting matchup because Wake throws the ball decently. Virginia Tech's secondary so far has proved to be porous. So I'm taking Wake Forest plus the 6 here.
I got nothing.
Nothing. We move on. Boise State, Notre Dame. Notre Dame laying 21 at home here. Boise State's plus 850. Total set at 62.5. I've got not one but 2 plays.
This is basically a college football playoff elimination game. Even though it's a big spread, that alone would take me to the under.
Yeah, so Notre Dame possibly might be exhausted after kicking the ever-loving shit out of Arkansas and getting Sam Pittman fired because they were basically just running sprints up and down the field against zero resistance. The Notre Dame secondary, though, is somewhat questionable. And Boise State, number 4 in the country in pass yards per completion and number 14 in the country in pass yards per game. If you look at the scoring that these two teams do, I think that puts them in the over category. So I'm taking over. I got it at 63. Looks like it's moved to 62.5. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Boise State plus the 21. These are both two potent offenses, and I think that that Boise State can hang with them, especially if they throw the ball as well as they have been throwing the ball. So I've got Boise State plus the 21, and I'm over 63 here. Let's make some money chiming in. Notre Dame's defense has looked bad this year, especially in the pass. And then I hate the Lakers 69. First half under for me in Boise State and Notre Dame. Gotta love some first half under. Sports Facts. He played Boise State on the money line. That's hey man, take your shot. That is a bold move. All right.
That's bad, dude.
Oklahoma State, Arizona. Arizona's laying 20.5 against the, I'll say, floundering Oklahoma State Cowboys. Plus 800 on the money line for Oklahoma. Under total set at 56. I didn't touch this one.
Did you see what they're doing? Like I think their offensive quality control guy is now calling their defensive plays for Oklahoma State. This thing is a complete and utter dumpster fire there. I mean, I think the play is if we're going to have to look to just start fading Oklahoma State in the first half. I didn't do it here, but I think that's kind of maybe a thought because most of these teams will get up and kind of take their foot off the pedal in the second half and just kind of take the air out of the ball. But to start the game, maybe even the first quarter, I think we can look to fade Oklahoma State a lot.
I have nothing to counter what you just said. I agree. I think these Oklahoma State scores might get ugly. It might be ugly for the rest of the season.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Syracuse getting 17.5 against the SMU Mustangs, coached by a proud Arkansan Rhett Lashley, by the way, the SMU Mustangs. Syracuse plus 600 on the money line, total set at 57. I didn't touch this one. I don't know what to make of Syracuse. They get the big win against Clemson. Do they have do they have a letdown spot here against SMU? I don't really know. I do know that SMU can put up a ton of points, but 17.5 is a big number.
Syracuse
so I'm staying away.
A ton of injuries for Syracuse.
Well, I'm mighty glad. I did not know that, so I'm mighty glad I stayed away from that game. UL Monroe, the Warhawks, they're taking on the Northwestern Wildcats. They're up in Uncle Rico's neck of the woods with Northwestern laying 12.5. UL Monroe plus 350 on the money line. Total set at 42. I really wanted to get there with ULM, but I stayed away.
I got offered tickets to this game, and I politely declined.
You got to take a chance with the Sun Belt team to come and get the win there. Just go and cheer for ULM, the alma mater of one of my favorite football players, Boogie Knight. All right, we roll it on. Here's a game that I'm playing. The Penn State Nittany Lions laying 25 on the road at UCLA. Traditionally for me, this would be the perfect spot to fade Penn State. You got an Eastern team going west to the West Coast with a huge number. I'm not going to do that, though, because UCLA got their rally around the interim game already after firing the head coach. I think they get back to the business of sucking, and Penn State has too much firepower not to blast UCLA here. So I'm taking Penn State minus the 25 at UCLA.
Yeah, how is Penn State going to react? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, how are they going to react? How is UCLA going to look? Penn State, I really think, like you and I and Jim in our group chat, I think we need to stop with the narrative. They're saving it for the next game because they literally showed shit. I can't do anything.
There we go. Well, we move on to another ACC battle. The Virginia Cavaliers, I believe the ranked Virginia Cavaliers, taking on the Louisville Cardinals. Louisville is a 6-point favorite at home. The ranked team plus 200 on the money line, total set at 60.5. You'd sure like to get there with Virginia, but I couldn't do it.
I was actually going to look to fade Virginia here, but that's too much for me, so I can't do anything.
Well, here's the matchup that everyone has been clamoring for, Uncle Rico. Oregon State at App State. Just kidding. No one asked for this football game.
I really wanted to get there with App State, but I was just so disappointed with what I saw in the Boise State game. Just mistake after mistake, quarterback misreading coverage. Now you go and you playing Oregon State, and I mean, this would kind of be a quote unquote trap game for them. They're coming off playing Boise State, which is one of those high powered Power 4 group games, and then you have to go home, play the Beavers, and then you have conference play on deck. So I can't get there at all on either side.
Well, we've got Florida International taking on the Connecticut Huskies. UConn -7, plus 230 on the money line for Florida International. Total set at 52.5. Woo, Uncle Rico's in the mix. What you got?
I took FIU. I took the Panthers plus 7.5 and plus 240 on the money line. UConn's defense has really struggled with mobile quarterbacks this season. I like the spot for FIU coming off the bye. Again, new coach, new scheme off a bye, I think is huge. UConn struggles to stopping the run. FIU is averaging $187 per game on the ground. Overall, UConn is allowing 392.6 yards per game, 97th in the country. So FIU will be able to move the ball. Edwards for UConn is banged up. This is huge because that could lead to UConn struggling to rushing the ball. Brian Blades is returning for FIU, which is huge. He is their best defensive player. He is in the back four, going to be a step up for the defense. Perry and Mitchell, on the outside will pressure the back four of UConn. I just think FIU has too much offensively. I think UConn is going to really struggle here. Plus, with what we've seen from them, how can we trust them laying this many points? More historically struggles laying this many points too as well. So I'll take FIU here plus 7 and plus 225.
A little sprinkle on the money line for Uncle Rico. We're talking
240, my bad.
240, which you got it at a good price because it's moving Connecticut's way, because I've got it at 230 right now live. James Madison, Georgia State. James Madison laying 20 on the road. Georgia State plus 850. Total set at 53. Is JMU going to thrash them?
That's a lot of points, dude. And like, I'll be honest, I really didn't look into this game. I need to see what JMU is doing at their quarterback situation. They're really in. Sometimes with this NIL stuff, you can get in a little bit of a pickle. They have the kid that came in last year for JMU, did well, and then JMU's coaching staff, who's from Holy Cross, brought in that kid from UNLV when that whole NIU situation happened. I really feel if they go with one guy, it's going to create some locker room issues. So I mean, I think they're kind of stuck playing both guys, which isn't the best for the team. But I don't want anything to do with this game.
I mean, because you kind of think that whenever Sluka comes in, that he's running the ball. You know what I mean? I hate two quarterback systems like that where you definitely know what one of the quarterbacks is going to be doing. You can try to trick me with a pass play every now and again, but I don't know. I feel like everyone's looking for the pass play whenever they bring in that running quarterback. All right, moving on. We got a Texas Longhorns taking on the Florida Gators. Texas laying 5 on the road. Florida plus 180 on the money line. Total 42.5. I'm in here. What about you?
Jesus, I got this at Florida plus 7 and plus 225. So obviously I was a little bit ahead of the move. I still like it at this number. Both offenses have been underwhelming this season. Both defenses have been strong. Florida quarterback DJ Lagweek has been battling injuries. I think coming off the bye is going to give him some extra time with this receiving group. He really wasn't able to practice at all, and it's shown in the offense. I think he's going to be a little bit healthier. Plus, Dallas Wilson is going to return. This is a 5-star freshman, a field stretcher, a big play waiting to happen. He's got the speed and the ability to stretch the field. A big part of Florida's offense last year was the deep ball with Lagway. He's shown he can do this, and it's been lacking this year. I think Wilson coming there is really going to open up this offense. Longhorns offense has struggled to finish drives. They've been awful this year in the red zone. And honestly, the whole time that Stark has been there, they have really struggled in the red zone. And Arch Manning, 2 games ago, played UTEP. Threw for 114 and an INT against UTEP. I'm going to make my bold statement of the day and say UTEP's defense isn't as good as Florida's defense. I know I'm going out on a limb here. I think it's a little uptick. I'm a fade Texas laying this big number on the road. You have a quarterback who I don't trust, an offense who has struggled in the red zone. And also, it's a huge situational spot. Texas plays Oklahoma in the wherever they're calling it now, Red River rivalry, Red River shootout, whatever they're calling it now. They play that next week. Napier 65% as a dog, 75% as a home dog, 65% as a conference dog at Florida. I think Florida has the edge in special teams. I think Florida's defense is going to be able to rattle Manning. I think the offense should look better. Legway should be healthier. Wilson there gives it a shot in the arm. So I took +7, +225. As long as you're getting 4.5 or more, I'd still play it. And this is my third week in a row betting Legway. Let's see what could go wrong.
Well, this is a t-shirt bet episode or game here because I'm taking Texas. I like that the line is moving towards Florida here because I managed to get Texas at -5, and there's a lot of pressure on Florida, and specifically Billy Napier, because this Florida offense is anemic and only averaging about 11 to Texas 32 points per game. Sure, the competition that they face plays into that, but I think it's probably tough sledding with a very good defense for Texas shutting down what has been a very bad offense for Florida so far. So I've got Texas -5. Me and Uncle Rico head to head on this one. We head to Tuscaloosa, who's hosting College Game Day, which, by the way, why are you watching College Game Day? You should be fucking watching us. Vanderbilt, Alabama. Alabama's an 11.5-point favorite. Vanderbilt +350 on the money line. Total set at 56.5. You got any?
No, I got nothing here. I got absolutely.
Well, nothing. I do. I'm taking Vanderbilt plus the 11.5. So it's not a Nick Saban Alabama, but they still have difficulty with quarterbacks who can pull it down and run. What were you saying?
I just said ooh.
Ooh. Yeah, I mean, if you just all the way back to Johnny Manziel, Alabama's had trouble stopping running quarterbacks. And like I said, it's not the same coaching team, but guess what? It's not the same old Vandy. When you look at the stat splits, that's apparent. And these teams are much more evenly matched than conventional wisdom would say they are. Plus, Vandy catches Alabama in a letdown spot following that big win versus Georgia. So I'm playing the opposite ends of the spectrum here with Georgia in the bounce back spot, Alabama in the letdown spot.
Ooh, okay.
I believe in Pavia. I'm not going to fuck with the money line, but I am going to go ahead and take the points there.
I mean, Pavia is older than Jim, so.
Yeah, well, Jim's a young buck, which, by the way, Jim's not here, so I'm going to do this just for him. There he is. All right, moving on. Texas State. We got a fun belt battle with Arkansas State. Arkansas State getting 13.5 at home. They're plus 400 on the money line. Total 64.5. How do you feel about the Arkansas State Red Wolves?
I have nothing here. I'm really not that high in either one of them.
Same. Now, we move on to the game that kept Jim from hanging out with us this morning. This would be I'm sad that Jim isn't here because your teams are playing each other. We're talking Michigan State. We're talking Nebraska. We're talking Nebraska laying 12.5 at home, plus 350 on the money line. Total set at 49. I opted to not fuck with this game at all. What about you?
I'll watch it. I'll definitely have it on because my boys are playing in Michigan State. But I'll be honest, in terms of betting aside, I really don't know. You know what I mean? Like, Childs has looked better. I don't trust the defense. I don't trust the running game. I do like their wide receiver group, though. So,
well, we roll it on. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers taking on the Old Dominion Monarchs. That's a Chanticleer versus a Monarch. That's a fucking regal ass matchup. Old Dominion Monarchs, Chanticleer. That's how you have to say it. You gotta really pronounce the sha. Minus 20 for Old Dominion, plus 800 on the money line for Coastal Carolina. Total set at 54.5. I feel like up until a couple seasons ago, I'd like to play Coastal Carolina, but I am not touching Coastal Carolina nor the Old Dominion Monarchs in this game.
I got nothing. I got nothing here. And Jim and I talked about it when we were talking Fun Belt. When you have those teams that have those little runs, you gotta appreciate them, dude. That run that Coastal had that year, the COVID year,
Yeah.
Magical. Still special in my heart.
Still special. Florida Atlantic, Rice, the Mighty Owls laying 4.5 here. Florida Atlantic getting plus 170. Total set at 54.5. This was a pass for me.
I'll tell you what. Huge pass for me. After what I saw from Florida Atlantic last week, livid. This coach makes Dan Campbell look like he goes for it more than Dan Campbell does. It was a 5-point game with 8 minutes to go. And this coach he went for it like as his own 25 and then his own 30. And the wheels they didn't get it. The wheels just fell off. Eddie's the youngest coach, and you totally saw it because his immaturity made that game a blowout.
It honestly makes me think of like people who lose their horse racing bets and they just go on tilt and they start betting every single race. That's my equivalent of coaches going
That's
for
what he did. He got pissed and he just started it was fucking absurd. But that was last week.
There we go. Moving on, South Alabama and Troy, another Fun Belt matchup. I got something here. What about you?
Nada, my friend. Nada.
Well, this is a system play for me. Two evenly matched teams with the home dog within a field goal. So I'm taking Troy on the money line here, and these two defenses are struggling and both allow a good amount of points. And if you look at how many points per game these teams allow, this looks like a total in the 50s for me. So I'm going over 48 here.
Okay. I see it.
We move on to the highest payroll in college football with Texas Tech laying 12.5 against Houston on the road. Houston plus 400 on the money line. Total set at 51.5. Let's make some money. Says, thank God MTSU doesn't play, so we're not betting them again on.
Okay. Fair, like another team. I mean, when you have the ball, what was it, 3 times inside the 10, don't score and like miss covering by 2.5, I'm going to say you're on the right side. Call me crazy there. I'm going to say you're on the right side. They just couldn't punch it. It is what it is.
I am going to be on the Houston Cougars here. I'm taking Houston plus 12.5, and I'm sprinkling on the money line plus 400 here. Texas Tech's schedule has been like 10-ply Charmin soft so far. Their wins have come against UAPB, Kent State, Oregon State, and Utah, and I'd only consider Utah a worthy opponent. Houston is a little more battle-tested, and they get the benefit of having the Red Raiders at home here. Plus, they're wearing the swagged-out old Houston Oilers colors up for this game. Biggest payroll in the CFB, be damned. I think the Texas Tech stumbles in their first competitive game. I like Houston to cover, and I like plus 400. Yeah, I'm into mature ladies. I hate the Lakers. I want a lady who knows what she's doing, you know? There we go. Moving on. We've got the UNLV Rebels taking on the Wyoming Cowboys. Wyoming getting 3.5 at home. They're plus 150 on the money line. Total set at 49.5. I'm hitting this one too. What do you got on Rico?
I took UNLV plus 3.5 and plus 150. I think UNLV is awful. I think they are one of the biggest frauds in college football. Should have lost to Miami. Miami lost their best offensive lineman, their best defensive lineman. Their starting quarterback got hurt. Still should have won the game, but their wide receiver fumbled the ball. No, their running back, who was having a huge game, fumbled the ball at the 20 with less than a minute 45 to play. They beat UCLA. Game was close. They should have won. They beat Sam Houston, who is god-awful this year. And then week 1, they're playing Idaho State, and they should have lost Idaho State. This team is the weakest 4-0 team in college football. Wyoming at home in Mountain West play has been great. Last 8 years, they've covered 77.8% of the time. Even more impressive, 13-1 as a home dog in conference play as an underdog of 3.5 or more over the last 10 years. They moved Harris into the starting lineup as a running back. This kid is averaging over 7 yards a carry against a defense that cannot stop the run. I think Wyoming is going to be able to run the ball. I think the altitude, the home field advantage of Laramie is real. It's supposed to be a windy day, hence more running. I think you have an indoor team in UNLV coming outside to play in Laramie where the weather's not going to be great. I think they're going to struggle moving the ball. I think this number is inflated. I think UNLV is due for some huge regression. Give me the Cowboys plus 3.5 and plus 150.
Uncle Rico, our difference in opinion stops here because I've got Wyoming straight up plus 150 on the money line because I'm taking the stab at the 3.5 point dog at home in Laramie in the spot. UNLV, like you said, they're undefeated, but they've been facing some weak ass competition so far, as opposed to the battle test of Wyoming. I say home field advantage takes hold. Wyoming surprises in this spot against what I'm considering, like Uncle Rico, a paper tiger with UNLV.
That's a more see, that's why we can tell you do this more, because you're more of the politer saying that a team sucks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. All right, moving on. We've got, in my opinion, probably the big game of the day. Miami. Oh, sorry. We're on to Mississippi State, Texas A&M. Nope, I scrolled down too far. We're on to Colorado and TCU. TCU, the Hypnotoad, is a 13.5 point favorite, plus 425 on the money line. Total set at 57.5. This was a big time pass for me. I don't know what to think of TCU.
Huge pass for me too, as well, my friend.
Well, we got a SEC matchup: Mississippi State, Texas A&M. Mississippi State 16-point favorite. Texas A&M, 16-point favorite. Mississippi State plus 500 on the money line. Total set at 56. You know what? I'm pulling the trigger with Mississippi State plus the 16. Mississippi State bye week coming up next week, and I think they go balls to the wall in this matchup with A&M. They've already knocked off a top 25 team with Arizona State. I don't think they embarrass themselves here, and they keep this game close. I have a hard time seeing Texas A&M win this by 2 touchdowns plus. So I've got Mississippi State plus the big number 16. Any thoughts on this one?
I got nothing, my friend.
Now we're on to the biggest matchup of the week. Miami, Florida State, one of the greatest rivalries in college football. Miami's laying 4, Florida State plus 165, total set at 54 points. I know I'm down to clown in this game. What about you?
I took the fighting Bobby Bowden's. Give me Florida State here plus 4.5 and plus 165 on the money line. I think it's a bounce back spot for Florida State coming home after a game. When you kind of look at the analytics and watch the replay, they probably should have won. Well-coached teams typically respond in these situations. Question, is Miami really that good? Let's just kind of take a look at who they have played. They played Notre Dame at home to start the season, a freshman quarterback making his first start, and also that Notre Dame defense, yikes, from the sample size we have, has not been that good. Bethram Cookman, no explanation needed. South Florida, Miami caught them in a perfect spot. South Florida is coming off beating Boise State, beating Florida. Now you're going up against Miami. I mean, that was the spot of spots for Miami. Then they placed an injured DJ Legwig with no Dallas Wilson and Florida's top defensive lineman exiting early. Miami in the trenches is good, strong up front, but can we really trust Carson Beck? Beck last year on the road, TD to INT ratio was 3-7. Let me repeat that. 3-7. This is Miami's first road game of the year. I think Carson Beck is going to struggle. Miami's offense just hasn't looked consistent this year. They've kind of struggled to sustain drives. Mario Cristobal as a favorite, 45% against the number. When we dwindle it down, Mario Cristobal against power conference teams as a favorite, 39.5%. 12% ATS. Mario Cristobal in the ACC as a favorite, 4-11 ATS. Let's take a step back and let's look at Florida. That win against Alabama is looking better and better each week because my Alabama has been playing, especially Alabama just beat Georgia. Also, tackling regression. PFF does this thing where they give every team a tackling grade, and we can look at missed tackles. Miami, each game, has gotten worse at tackling. Their missed tackling numbers have increased. Their last 2 games they've missed a combined over 30 tackles. Florida State's offensive line matches up well with Miami's defensive front. The Seminoles can neutralize the Canes' biggest strength. And then also I kind of took a dive into scheme-wise. Miami runs a lot of cover 3. Castellanos has consistently performed well against that his time when he was at Boston College. I'm going to take Florida State here. I'm going to take the plus 165. I know Miami has been good against the run, but I think Castellanos is really going to have to pass here, and he's had success passing.
I got to tell you, I'm a little bit turned on by what you're telling me right now.
Oh, sorry.
That's right. Get the Steve Belichick lick here because you know what? I completely agree. I'm on Florida State plus the 4.5, and I was able to get him at plus 160 on the money line. A home dog in a rivalry game with the spread under a touchdown. So I'm considering this a system play and taking the points and sprinkling. And I like him for all those reasons that Uncle Rico mentioned. So that was my play there, plus 4.5 on the money line. And then we move to a Big Ten matchup. PJ Fleck tries to roll the boat against Ohio State with Minnesota getting 23.5 on the road. Ohio State minus 2,500 on the money line, and total set at 42 gross. I want no part of this game.
Agree. I mean, when are we going to see that Ohio State game where they just kind of shit the bed for a little bit? I don't think this is it.
Yeah. Agreed. Kansas taking on UCF. UCF getting 4 at home. They're plus 160 on the money line. Total set at 54. I'm not sure if this is the same wagon of a Kansas team that we've seen the last couple years. So I stayed away from this one completely.
Four words for you, dude. Cam Fancher is starting.
Okay.
That's all you need to know about that game.
Noted. Moving on, we've got the Tulsa Golden Hurricane taking on the Memphis Tigers. Memphis laying 21, and I think that number might be too small, but I did not play this game. Tulsa 10-1 on the money line, 54.5 is your total. This Memphis team looks good. I would consider Memphis easily the front runner to be one of the smaller teams to make the playoff. Do you have any thoughts on these teams?
Memphis, FAU, if they had a more responsible coach, would have won last week.
Fair. All right, we hit our last 2 matchups of the week. We got the Duke Blue Devils crossing the Rockies to take on the Calgorithm, the Cal Golden Bears. I'm in this one. What about you?
I did it here. I took Cal plus 3, travel spot. Duke is traveling across country to play a late kickoff, West Coast. And we've seen this trend consistently hurt the ACC teams. Now, granted, small sample size because there's only 2 teams on the West Coast, Cal and Stanford. But East Coast teams, when they're traveling out there, just 1-5 ATS. So they've really struggled in these later games. Body clock adjustment is real. When you look at Wilcox, the Cal coach, 57% ATS for his career, 66, 33-17-1 as an underdog, home underdog, 14-5-1. That's 73.71% ATS. Those numbers speak for themselves. Wilcox teams consistently show up and compete when they are dogs. I really don't trust this Duke team to win with margin. I'm not a big fan of Manny Diaz in the spot. Teams have struggled in role environments, show inconsistency, and their quarterback play has been erratic. They brought in the kid from Tulane who just hasn't looked like it this year. I think he's going to struggle against this Cal defense. I'm going to play the trends here. Give me Cal plus 3.
Uncle Rico, our steps are locked. We are in lockstep here because I went ahead and I pulled the trigger on Cal plus 120 on the money line here because home dog by a field goal against a team going west, crossing the Rockies. Uncle Rico just pointed out all the issues that comes with that. I go ahead and I take the swing with the Calgorithm plus 120. Now, our final game of the week, Nevada, Fresno State. Fresno State laying 14 at home plus 425 for the Nevada Wolfpack. Total set at 46. I got one game in the late action. I'm not going to mess with the 9:30 p.m. game because I like to go to sleep early.
You know what? There's a game there. Dude, you want to go to bed early so you can watch Browns and Vikings tomorrow morning, NFL Network, bright and early, my friend. I did nothing here. I mean, gun to my head, I'd probably bet Nevada. But in terms of me placing my hard-earned American currency on this game, I have nothing.
To our friends, I hate the Lakers and let's make some money. I say patience is a virtue. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. We still do round robins. It's cool. It's cool. Uncle Rico, do you have a round robin for us?
Yes, my round robin is Cincinnati minus 120, Florida plus 170, FIU plus 220, Wyoming plus 140, Florida State plus 165, and Cal plus 118.
We have a round robin that looks pretty similar. I'm taking Troy minus 105, Houston plus 400, but then I'm also on Wyoming plus 150, Florida State plus 160, and the Calgorithm plus 120. Then I went ahead and put together a plus 66.30 parlay for the people here.
Oh, shit.
UTSA minus 6.5, Boise State plus 21, Texas minus 5, Vanderbilt plus 11.5, Troy on the money line, and Florida State on the money line. That's sexy, is what that is.
So I've been fucking around with prize picks lately. You know what, Jim? Sorry, dude. Chase, I put together a prize pick. Can I give that out, buddy?
Go for it, dude.
So the prize pick that I put together for today is Samuel Harris from Wyoming to score a touchdown.
Okay.
Dallas Wilson from Florida to score a touchdown.
Okay.
And TJ, don't call me DJ Moore from Clemson to have over 48.5 receiving yards.
I like it. And if you're out there watching from Prize Picks, we will gladly take your money if you would like to sponsor us. So there we go. That's round robins. We've gone through every single game. Let's make some money apparently listening to my podcast now, so I don't have to give horse picks on Saturday morning anymore. Which, by the way, I have absolutely no problem with it. We love you. Let's make some money. All right, Uncle Rico, do you have any parting words for the people?
Let's go green.
Let's go green, he says. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the Notorious this isn't the Notorious OTB, at the College Football Tailgate, the big show. We'll see you back next Saturday when we'll have picks for all over the college football slate. We love you. Thanks for watching. We will talk to you later. Bye-bye.